Hello and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer, the board game review show that moves the stars for no one. Today we're going to take a look at the Village Crone from Fireside Games. What is a crone? Is that where they take some of your genetic material and then they can grow a new you inside a tank or clone? Clone, that's a clone. In the Village Crone from Fireside Games, 1 to 6 players are essentially going to become witches. That's right, witches. And you're going to try to manipulate people in a village and cast spells in order to accomplish your nefarious schemes. What's going to happen is, first of all, you're going to select which witch you want to be. Which witch? And you're going to put your player screens or your book of spells in front of you because you're going to hide some of your information. Now, you're also going to have some familiars based on whatever witch you are. It may be a cat, it may be a spider, it can be all sorts of different things. You're going to start with 3 of these tokens. You'll get more as the game progresses. Now, you're also going to set up the village. Now, you've got these 6 different tiles, and you can set them up in a basic kind of rectangular configuration, but to make the game a little more challenging, you can kind of make different configurations if you want to do that. But, of course, these locations are things like the village green, the farm, the manor, the forge, different places like that. And there you're going to find different villagers, like the peasant, the blacksmith, the farmer, the lord. You're going to find all these different people, and they're going to start in their respective locations. Now, what you're going to do at the beginning of the game is place your familiars in the different locations, and that allows you to take a couple of cards from their respective decks. These are ingredients. For instance, the manor has silver, the mill has flour. You're going to take these ingredients, and then you are going to add them to your hand. And there's also the Eye of Newt, which is kind of a wild card. You're going to find 3 cards of that in every one of the decks. There's also kind of the tithing barn. And the tithing barn is not, doesn't give you cards, at least not usually. Instead, rather, at the beginning of every turn, you're going to have to pay a tithe. Pay one of your ingredient cards out of your hand into the tithe barn. Now, if you have a familiar in the tithe barn, you don't have to pay the tithe. Now, each player is going to get a different scheme card. These cards have a 1, 2, or 3 on them, and the 1s, of course, are the easiest, 2 the medium, and 3 are the most difficult. They're going to tell you things like get certain characters into certain locations, or turn characters into frogs, or bind certain locations, meaning people can't move in or out. Different things you kind of have to do in order to gain points, and then you're going to score 1, 2, or 3 points depending on what you've done. Now, the first thing you're going to do, of course, is movement. Now, you can move and cast a spell, or you can cast a spell and move, or you can do it however you want to do it. But when you move, you get 6 movement points on your turn. Now, you can split those up any way you want. You can move a familiar 6 spaces, or move a villager 6 spaces, or move 2 familiars 2 spaces and a villager 2 spaces. You can split it up any way you want. You are not necessarily represented on the board. Your familiars are, and of course you can move the villagers. Then you can cast a spell. And what you do when you cast a spell is essentially you have to pay the cost in ingredients, and then you have to read the incantation that is on your spellbook.
Like wheat from soil is crushed to flour, thy form is now within my power. And I'll turn that frog into the peasant.
If you don't read the incantation, you lose the ingredients and nothing happens. So you have to read the incantations. Now, your spells can be a lot of fun things. Like I say, you can bind locations. People can't go in or out. You can turn characters into frogs or from frogs back into humans. You can bind characters with love. You essentially put a love token in between them that holds the 2 characters together. Then their fates are sealed. Whatever you do to one, you do to the other as well. You can also summon characters to your location, summon the villagers to the location of one of your familiars. You can essentially switch familiars with another player or with one of your own. You can do all sorts of things in this game with the spells, but you always have to say the incantation. Now, at the end of a round, you're going to go ahead and everywhere where you've got a familiar, you get 2 cards from that ingredient deck to put into your hand. Now, if you've completed a scheme on your turn, you grab 3 new scheme cards, you read through them, and then you select one you want, you put the others on the top of the deck. And then you pass the broomstick, the first player token, to the person on your left. Now, you keep playing, you keep going around and around, moving characters, casting spells, until one player has achieved 13 points from their scheme cards. The first player to achieve 13 points, then, of course, you finish the round, and at the end of the round, whoever has the most points wins the Village Crone. So I have to tell you, I'm not a huge fan of, if you've seen the show, I'm not a huge fan of Euro games in general. There's some I like, there's some I like a lot, but they're just, Euro games are not games that I run out play. I prefer Ameritrash, or as we're supposed to call it now, Amerithrash. I like heavy theme. I like dice rolling. I like all those sorts of goodies from the American tradition of board gaming. The theme of the Village Crone 2 with the witches, it didn't really appeal to me. I've got to be honest, this was a game I was not really looking forward to. I mean, I don't want to say I was dreading it. I was just not a game that was really on my radar. Not a game that I was thinking, I got to play that. And then the good people at Fireside Games said, would you like to review it? And I thought, well, okay, I'll give it a shot, sure. But even then, I wasn't really super excited about it. I read the rules, and I'm thinking, okay, well, we'll see how it goes. We sat down and played it, and first of all, it's very easy to learn, very easy to pick up. I was surprised just how quickly you get this game. It's really intuitive. Rulebook's generally good. There were a few little wonky things here and there we had questions about, but generally speaking, I was pretty pleased with both the rulebook and how quickly and intuitively this game is to learn. And what I found is once we started playing, I got a kick out of it. I enjoyed it. I thought this was a pretty fun game. It's not a mega awesome game that's blew my mind or anything, but it was fun. I liked it. I thought it was fairly engaging. There was a race where you're trying to get things done. It can be a little frustrating when you're not getting the ingredients, but that's kind of the nature of the game. You got to plan ahead. If you're not planning, if you're not looking for what you want to accomplish, you're going to get screwed. I remember when we played the one game, I had three cards. I kept going for the 3 cards because I wanted the big score, and then I couldn't make them work for me. So you probably want to balance your scorecards a little bit. But it's fun, it's interesting, it's engaging. I really enjoyed it. Everybody I played with thought it was pretty fun. So I think this is, if you like kind of these easy to mid-level complexity Euro games, I think you'll get a kick out of this. I think it's a fairly decent design, and it's a fun game. And I think the art on it looked really good. I really liked the artwork and just the design of the game. I thought it looked pretty good. The only real kind of drawback I had is where you have the 6 movement points. I mean, it's not a roll and move game, but it almost kind of felt like a roll and move game. And that was that was the game I think at its weakest. I wish there was a better mechanism they could have come up with for movement rather than just saying 6 movements, spend it any way you like. Because it just I wish they had retooled movement a little bit and how that worked. But really, that's my only complaint, and frankly, it's kind of a minor complaint. So the recommendation for the discriminating gamer is, if you do, again, you like these kind of easy to more mid-level complexity Euros, I think you'll really like the Village Crone. I think you should check it out. So, buy it. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. We are The Discriminating Gamer. And when I was a kid, I remember whenever my parents would go on vacation, I'd stay with some of their friends, and they had this board game called Which Witch is Which. I want to say it was Milton Bradley or something, but I remember being a little kid, and this was 30 years ago. I remember playing this game and thinking it was so much fun because you had these witches and all these traps and little moving parts on the board. It was so much fun. I really ought to look that up. It just occurred to me as I was doing this review. Maybe we should reprint that, and it's got a fun name. Which Witch is Which? Huh?
Please somebody help me on my feet again, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band.
Distance slight or distance vast, transpose your place and do it fast! Hey, beheeby, ho, bahaba. Hey, beheeby, ho, bahaba. Hey, beheeby, ho, bahaba.
I don't know what that is, but I like it.